It was great to have Tristan Leavitt join us right outside the hearing room where he was participating in a hearing for Empower Oversight and a client we also represented working with Empower Oversight, one of those FBI whistleblowers, Marcus Allen in this case. This case finally came to a good conclusion, though we did learn the settlement has not yet been honored completely by the FBI. No surprise to a bit, because it's like working with the IRS, or anytime the government owes you money, when you owe them money, you got to get it to them immediately or they're knocking on your door. But Will, this was interesting because, just to set it up for folks, what they're hearing and seeing is when you have a successfully defended whistleblower, you learn a lot more. And we'll ask Tristan about it, but I thought the hearing was interesting.
That's right. Yeah. So this was before the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Federal Government. It's a subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee. And the hearing was a hearing on the weaponization of the federal government, and it will examine how the Federal Bureau of Investigation has used its security clearance adjudication process to purge its ranks of conservatives and whistleblowers and unlawfully punish those with views contrary to FBI leadership. And Tristan, I thought it was great to have you there, who is does great work with Empower Oversight to protect whistleblowers and try to strengthen the laws protecting whistleblowers in this country, but also to have Marcus Allen, who, because of his administrative appeals and lawsuit against the FBI, was actually one of the more quiet. We hadn't heard a ton from him other than that very first hearing because of the process that he was under, but getting to hear the ordeals he went under directly from him before that subcommittee.
Yeah, his testimony was very powerful. And in fact, after his opening statement, I was glad the camera wasn't focused, because I was really kind of wiping the corner of my eyes. I'm glad it wasn't focused on me. But, he did go through a lot, and he's not out there on social media like Garrett O'Boyle is, like Steve Friend. So his perspective is maybe more of a mystery to the public. But this was really a chance for everyone to see his vindication. When he was before the committee a year and a few months ago, the FBI had smeared him as a threat to national security. So did the ranking member of that subcommittee. And, now he's had his security clearance reinstated, and the inspector general produced a statement which did not get as much focus. Of course, your opening statement that you deliver for the committee has to be cut down to 5 minutes. Horowitz submitted a very lengthy statement for the record that details all of the issues with Marcus's case. And I really wish members had dug in more there, because it really highlights a number of the problems that we saw from the security division. And, some of the questions trying to get at that didn't quite land. So there's some really good information that I think didn't quite make its way out from what Horowitz had to share with the committee.
Tristan, it was interesting that you talked about social media too, because it was a way, and this hearing I saw from Democrats, I want to ask you about that in a minute, because I remember a Democrat, the first time he went before Congress, this is before his rights had been restored, his security clearance, his back pay, his retirement, his health benefits. All of these things. His life was basically not just paused, but also made very difficult for him. But for a guy who doesn't speak out as much, there was a Democrat congresswoman who tried to blast him about this tweet by someone who also had the name, a screen name like Marcus Allen with a bunch of numbers behind it. And he said, no, that's not my account, twice under oath. So, it was not his account. And she still read the tweet out, Tristan, as if it was his words. That's how absurd. And now we find out that because he's able to speak, that the person who is leading the investigation into the second Trump assassination from the FBI, and we can use the name Jeffrey Veltri, that Marcus said he told him he would ridicule Marcus about his religious beliefs, called him, quote, delusional. I want our people to hear this. This is the FBI agent doing the investigation into how the second Trump attempted assassination got so far. He said to Marcus Allen, someone that worked below him, that he was, quote, delusional for believing in and seeking guidance for the Holy Spirit. Tristan, is this our FBI really in 2024? It's because we also heard some statements from members of Congress that were pretty close to that too. But to me, those are kind of cases that we handle a lot in the private sector. It doesn't go well for private companies, but of course the government gets treated differently.
Yeah, it's very alarming. I do need to correct. So the place he got that, so Marcus Allen has never met Jeffrey Veltri. Veltri was the head of the Security Clearance Investigation Unit. And so Marcus only learned that because other whistleblowers who have come to us since the hearing last year have revealed that. So last week, we sent a 22-page letter to Chairman Jordan where we outlined all this material we've gathered from other whistleblowers. So, of course, again, a year ago at that hearing, we didn't have the benefit of that. It just clearly looked retaliatory. We knew that he had gone without pay for quite some time. We knew that it was because of this email he sent that was a protected disclosure. Since then, what's really remarkable is that after his clearance was reinstated this year, whistleblower after whistleblower has come forward to us from inside of the security division, the office that was investigating Marcus all along, saying, you actually have no idea how dysfunctional this office really is, and let us tell you more about it. So they've pulled back the curtain, and these are the kinds of things that we've learned from them about the people investigating Marcus's case. So that's how he learned about it, was from our letter, from our other whistleblowers. And, it is clear that even Veltri was just a symptom of a larger problem at the FBI. People have seen the so-called Trump questionnaire that we released earlier this summer from a different client of ours. And, it's clear that the whole entire office was focused there on, people that had views that were out of favor with the FBI. One of the things that I wish Inspector General Horowitz had been asked more directly about yesterday is that his office confirmed what we'd shared before, which is that when Marcus Allen was first referred to the FBI's so-called insider threat office, that office came back and said that because he had hesitancy about the vaccine, that made him a potential insider threat. And the Inspector General's report added, the statement for yesterday added in there, all that Marcus said was, I'd like to see more data before receiving that. So the Inspector General himself highlighted this was a perfectly reasonable view for someone to express that. And yet that's what the insider threat office at the FBI had labeled him a threat for. So these are the kinds of things we're battling in the modern FBI of today.
Give people a sense, too, of how Democrats, like the ranking Democrat on the Weaponization Committee, Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, who's a delegate from the Virgin Islands. This is what she took her time to say where the FBI should be focused. Take a listen, folks.
What is the point of this subcommittee? Because it's necessary for the public and the media to hear, to try and provide cover for the eradication of the Department of Justice and the FBI. We are having these hearings so that you become immune. You become inured to the notion of the removal of the FBI and DOJ, so that those agencies are no longer there to serve as a check against white nationalism, great replacement theorists, Christian nationalists, white fragility, fascists, and the twice impeached convicted felon, former president and would-be dictator Donald Trump.
Tristan, if that is what the ranking Democrat thinks that the purpose of the FBI was there for, does that prove the reason why this hearing needed to take place right there?
It's hard to say. I mean, again, the reality is we need the FBI to be something that people can have trust in. And clearly she has a whole bunch of things that she wants the FBI to be focused on. And other Americans have other things where they'd say, no, you're talking about attacking us and our beliefs, right? So we need the FBI to be above the fray for all of this. We need it to be something that can be respected. And that can't happen until they clean house at the FBI.
FBI is not the thought police. I mean, you don't have to agree with any of those statements she made or any of those movements, but if they're just theories or ideas that people have, that's a waste of the FBI's time if it's not linked to actual criminal activity.